So each town would probably have a different regulation as far as the.
What do you think? Is that a goal?
No.
did too.
It's got to be better.
I didn't go through that.
Which I've already got.
You watch them, seen them? Have you seen them up your house?
Last year was the first time I've seen waterfall restoration project.
Got it?
Right to the soil, and bios.com, and all sorts of stuff. And they said last year they said that we thought there was a chance of getting some kind of
My neighbor's tree.
protected fetch. First one there, I said, show me where it is, it will be tomorrow. When I went through, I mean, it was like, you have to every step I went through, but it was just the other
around you know.
people were, they were imagining the Midwest had big tracks and all that they ran. And then paying off.
It's all that hard computer. You know. Oh, I'm just dandy you.
Good.
That's what we like to hear.
We showed everything with all the DVP.
Go see some people. What's wrong?
They didn't. I must have been about 10, 11, 12 years old.
Oh, I'm just beating you.
Years ago, before Vietnam, they went, they did this like down to this, what?
So that you can sense from the town board meeting where you're also sensitive.
I got it cheap.
Who you are? Oh, okay.
I got magazine. In there, they show people on the they refuse to say that building, you know, use it, but not show it. They refuse it, they put it right in the building.
I think which club? They're on sale, yeah. What's hers? Tracy.
Tracy's got it?
No, she doesn't swearing in. She'd be.
They're just having a meeting.
That's why I'm here.
Pleasure up there.
Doors locked. Or you just all three of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll see how long we're in for. We should go and cook us some help or something.
You know I was gonna be here. But don't mean you should. I was there. Well, about you for now.
Well, I'll just,
You can sign it.
We understand. He's living in an unfit house.
Never hired a dog.
it's up to you. I'm giving you the.
I'm looking for a guidance. Because I
I'll leave another couple of papers.
No, that's a private conversation, you can turn it off.
And then, well, does that tell you one way? Well, but I want to give them
Did you get that? Well, board member. Right, it's kind of sick.
got your work
There's a lot to do.
Think about your kids.
Somebody called, somebody
up and down.
That was a class. How's that gonna work out? Pretty good, isn't it? Walks in.
I just need to
Suppose they cut their vacation short.
I deleted the email that had Pam Fuller's, this was, go back to February.
This thing's on.
Huh?
This is on.
If I go to Madison Matters, can I see what this actually, when you know, goes away?
Yeah, should be.
It's on there?
Yeah, and it should be on the town website too, I It's too bad we didn't know somebody that they didn't know. It's like, it's a standard stuff.
Thank you.
He's got this thing here too, which I don't know if...
Do you have it on recording now?
See, the numbers are counting down. So
Oh, they are, okay. So, yeah.
I assume it's working, but I just couldn't figure out how to...
Counting, oh, they're counting up. Yeah, no, it must, and you started at 11 hours ago. Yeah, so, and it should have
Yeah, I charged it.
battery
Okay.
and then I'll take that with me. It's and we'll prop it up. We decide. I mean, we don't prop it up at night.
Right. Joe already got a good one. Namath walked right over to our newest board member. Started to have a conversation. Joe put the camera on and they said this is a private conversation and they walked up. He got it all in shape.
They don't know that these are ex parte communications, which are discoverable. We can foil for them. We should foil for every single conversation that they have, because we're all supposed to benefit from it. Well,
Yeah, I know.
at least keep harassing me. I know that
John Minton, nice to meet you.
Pretty innocuous.
Nice to see you. Prison guy. Seems like a really good kid. Usually there's one man who comes in and he's doing real talking. And then he goes, yeah, he goes, my father's son. And he goes, yeah, my father. I hope they're really good. They really are. She's going to have a soft opening. Oh, really? I never saw the same thing. Yeah, I we should probably get another face.
Put two tables together, a picture like this.
That's what I say.
What's that?
Somebody wants wonder if it's worth moving the
Oh, Roger said no?
Because it is a regular meeting to start with, right? So we probably should. I think that probably, we got anything to do with
I'm sure nobody can hear me, but before I open the meeting, I'd like to introduce our new planning board members, Mr. Doug Waterman and Mr. Carrier. Now, following the meeting, we're going to have a workshop to go through and review a proposed wind law. And one thing that I want to emphasize, there'll be no public forum or public participation in either meeting, period. With that, I'd like to open the meeting.
Make a motion?
Okay. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the March 6th meeting. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve those minutes.
Any questions? Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there's no really old business or new business, so I need a motion to adjourn to the workshop.
Make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Jim, it's yours.
All right, Roger asked me to chair the review of the
If I could ask Roger, or perhaps Paul, where would you like the Wind Advisory Committee to sit?
We're not, wherever you can sit in the audience is fine. We're just, it's a workshop for the board.
So the Wind Advisory Committee will not be
Well, we got two members of the
included?
Wind Advisory Committee on the board. If we have any questions for anybody else, as long as you're here, we may be tapping you.
But the committee as a whole will not be participating?
No.
Okay.
So anyway, where was I? So anyway, Roger asked me to chair a review of the proposed wind law. And there's five articles that compose the windmill law, and we'll go through. I'll just ask for any concerns from each one of the articles as we go through. But before we do that, we want to address on Article 3. Doug, you want to speak to the issue regarding the Department of Agriculture?
The section on the small windmill turbines did a little bit of work. There was an article in the Country Folks this past week, kind of jumped it out. It said the New York State Department of Agriculture markets has defined a wind turbine as a farm equipment under the right to farm laws, a farm in a certified ag district cannot be prohibited from installing a wind turbine by the local jurisdiction. In addition, there can be no restrictions on the height of the tower, however setback limits may be imposed. And I think Roger, you looked up.
They recommended 1.5 times the height actually from property line.
Well, it is, for personal windows.
Personal agricultural
Okay.
use.
Small windows.
Small windows. And they didn't put any restriction on height, they said you can't. But you can establish setbacks.
So it has to be consumed on a farm, correct?
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, there's some things that, well, you want to speak to your correspondence, I can if you want. Yeah, your correspondence with Matthew Brower from the Department of Ag.
Yeah, after seeing that article, I wrote to him in Matthew Grover, the Department of Ag and Markets, and asked about setbacks. And he sent me the guidance document concerning the small wind turbines and farm operations located in an agricultural district. In short, anything in excess of 1.5 times the height of the turbine could be considered unreasonable. If you'd like us to review the law and provide comments to the town, he wanted me to contact him.
I don't know how the rest of you feel, but I think that we ought to tap Mr. Brower and get any information we can regarding those guidelines before we look at anything on small windows. Everybody in agreement with that?
I agree with that.
Excuse me, there's a difference between a small windmill and one that's exempt for the ag district. If you look at page 8,
Ma'am,
section E, that's an exemption.
I understand, but we're not doing any, this is the workshop of the board, okay?
Gotta make it clear.
Any disruptions, please, can be hold
If you're
yourself.
misinterpreting it, you're having a problem.
Well, if there's any additional interruptions, we'll adjourn the meeting and we'll reschedule it, okay? This is a workshop for us.
We just like to have you able to go through the workshop and all the issues, any issues that we may have without any interruptions or disruptions.
But what misinformation though is,
We'll just catch it later.
Just out of curiosity, Joe, what's the misinformation?
that law is taken care of in the,
We're
in
not
the
even-
law.
I want to talk with Mr. Brower. This is why, this
but
is,
there is an exemption for that, and so it's not
But
an
the exemption is not
effective.
right.
Okay, I won't say anything else.
so we won't discuss anything in Article 3 at this point, so we talk, you're going to speak with us, or we can take the headlines and question him, or any other areas of the proposed law that deal with the small windows. And so, getting to Article 1, does anybody have any issues regarding Article 1? In Article 1?
On page 7, it says structure greater than 144 square feet, but it says temporary. Why would temporary be in there?
It's just a definition of structure, I'm assuming. Structure can be a temporary or permanent. It's a-
Temporary means you can put 12 by 12 shed with no foundation, and that becomes a structure.
Okay.
So you have to clarify what is an acceptable structure, and you could put a 100 cap in there, but you can move around from time to time. That to me
Gotcha.
qualifies as a structure.
Okay.
Should be permanent.
Would it trailer, house trailer?
House trailer, something. Quite honestly, I'm not sure what to call a structure. Is there any specific size to fall into that category? I think it's kind of ambiguous, so what you want to classify as a structure.
It is ambiguous, yeah.
fence in case a windmill falls on it.
Any other issues with Article 1?
I guess just the wording on some stating that there is a direct link to, like the issues of wildlife property value. Where is the data to support all this information?
Okay.
What is more of a generalization? Where is the data to support?
When I read through that stuff, I was thinking about that, again, it'd be, if you stick with the law, the contents of the law, if you try to identify various issues or whatever, you can go on and on and on. It might be more reasonable to be in the report and stuff, but we're on page 3, by the way. What I'm suggesting is that the wording be, there are, however, various potential adverse effects, adverse impacts, hazards, and conditions to be considered. And that would encompass anything plus, that's written there, plus 1.
State that again, Jim.
There are, however, various potential adverse impacts. There are, however, various potential adverse impacts, hazards, and conditions to be considered.
Should that be maybe various?
Okay. What was it? There may be various potential. Anything else?
On page 8, under D, it says all decisions of the planning board should be final. Shouldn't it be a board of appeals or the town board?
No, the planning board would be the one issuing the permits. The only thing that's lacking is, and it would be there regardless, would be a reference to judicial review. Just like if the planning board rejected a subdivision, someone can still take it to court on an Article 78 proceeding to see if the planning board acted, reasonably and not arbitrarily, so that that judicial review is going to be there regardless. It normally would be set forth, in an ordinance or local law that there was that judicial review.
On page 5, industrial scale. Page 5, the classification, definition of what industrial scale and energy facility is.
Could you please speak up a little bit?
Excuse me, on page 5, there's a definition for what an industrial scale wind energy facility is. And I would like to see documentation as to what is classified industrial. I mean, is it rated based on rate capacity? Is it directed related to height? Is it the structure? And here they're saying 150 feet in excess is considered an industrial scale.
Your state and my service basis are on the thing in excess of 100 kilowatts.
That's what they call it. So that should be changed just on the rate, not the height and rate. Okay.
What about D on page 3? The review of recently enacted laws and regulations, the best practice would indicate a minimum setback of 10 times the rotor diameter.
What is the probability?
Industrial, they have a 328-foot rotor diameter.
So
That's
10
a
times
that's a
that.
column right there.
So do you have to go 10 times that to get 0%?
Good question.
If you went twice, you could lower it to 95%, or increase it to 5 or 10.
Again, we'd have to find you participating or not participating.
Yeah, because in other parts of this, it does define a different setback between the participating and non-participating.
There is a difference, one's the private, one's the
Right,
resident.
right.
The way this is worded, it's just information. Recently enacted laws, it's just telling what the synopsis of the review was.
This is a generalized statement.
So it doesn't need to be there. If
It doesn't need to be there, that's the thing.
No, that's good.
People can misconstrue it differently.
On F on that page, if not properly cited on page 3, there's evidence that turbines can present a risk to bird and bat populations. I mean, that's, to me, again, that's something that would be better placed in the report versus the law.
Find it.
So we'll remove that. And again, on page 8, under E, under the exemptions, again, that deals with small windmills and stuff. The delay action on plus or minus on that as far as the so we talk about small, get more clarification.
See which one is that, Jim?
It's page 8, the E, or the E. Okay.
On the setback.
Yeah, I think we need further clarification on that.
Yep.
If it is, in fact, an exception, it wouldn't be, it would be an exception, it would
Right.
be applicable anyways.
Setback. If you read the binder, they're all right.
I think it has to be under 500 feet by FFA regulations.
Yep.
If it's under 100 feet up, it wouldn't be feasible, but also 500 feet to produce under 100 feet up the other is.
I don't think so.
Again, that's something we deal with when we deal with small windmills. Anything else in Article 1?
I on page 4.
Which one is it? Doug is looking for clarification on I on page 4, Roger. Or John.
We actually,
Basically, just
You
want to have a bond in place
can't have a bond in place to cover decommissioning.
for each one, for each
No, page 4I.
decommissioning.
Right, so no, industrial scale windows could present a danger to users and individuals.
That's not, is that Article 1?
Yeah, so page 4.
Oh, the airport.
The airport.
They have to have a study first, don't they?
Whoa. So, Brian,
I get your print. Is that? That's Roger's review thing, yeah. This is the,
Why is yours different?
I don't know, that's what my Article 1I talks about decommissioning on my page,
That's J, that's J.
not on mine.
Really?
I think I said, let me check. I've got 2 copies, so I can. No.
I got taken out somewhere along the line.
Yep.
That's it. That's been moved
all right, what I've got under is industrial scale wind energy facilities that present a danger to the users and individuals on the ground around the airport located in nearby Hamilton. Right, correct?
Correct.
And that's what does it for clarification, I guess.
So we did that in there.
That's whatever your flavor is. Do you see it as an issue?
It is.
It's information, yeah, it's specific to Hampton Airport. I don't think we do.
Again, is this something you, like, with the other areas that I talked about before, being more appropriate being part of the report versus the law?